he was one of the most famous human beings on Earth, a global icon whose music changed history. To millions, Michael Jackson was the king of pop, a musical genius, a humanitarian, and a symbol of childhood wonder. But behind the glittering stage lights, platinum records, and the fantasy world of Neverland Ranch, there were allegations so disturbing they threatened to destroy everything. Children, secret settlements, police raids, courtrooms packed with cameras, and one question that still divides the world decades later. Was Michael Jackson an innocent man targeted for money? By the early 1990s, Michael Jackson was more than a celebrity. He was a phenomenon. From Thriller to sold-out world tours, his fame was almost unmatched. But as his stardom grew, so did public fascination with his increasingly unusual lifestyle. In 1988, Jackson purchased Neverland Ranch in California, a massive private estate complete with amusement rides, a zoo, movie theaters, and fantasy-like attractions. Michael often described Neverland as a place where he could reclaim the childhood he said had been stolen from him by fame and an abusive work schedule. But Neverland also became controversial because Jackson frequently invited children to visit, many of them sick or underprivileged, and developed close personal relationships with some young boys and their families. Jackson openly admitted in interviews that he sometimes allowed children to sleep in his bedroom, while he might sleep on the floor or elsewhere. To him, it was innocent and loving. To critics, it raised deeply troubling questions. Then, in 1993, those questions exploded into one of the biggest scandals in entertainment history. In August 1993, 13-year-old Jordan Chandler accused Michael Jackson of sexually abusing him. According to reports, the allegations emerged after Jordan's father, Evan Chandler, claimed his son had described inappropriate sexual contact. The accusations triggered a criminal investigation by Los Angeles authorities. Police began examining Jackson's behavior, financial dealings, and private life. His home was searched. Investigators looked for physical evidence, photographs, and corroborating testimony. One of the most controversial moments came when prosecutors sought and obtained permission for a strip search of Michael Jackson's body. Investigators wanted to determine whether Jordan's description of Jackson's private anatomy matched reality. The exact conclusions from that evidence remain highly debated, with conflicting claims from media, legal teams, and supporters. Some argued the description was accurate enough to raise suspicion. Others insisted discrepancies weakened the claim. But before the criminal case could fully develop, another shocking twist changed everything. In January 1994, Michael Jackson settled the civil lawsuit with the Chandler family for approximately $20 million, though Jackson did not admit guilt. To many, the settlement looked suspicious. Why would an innocent man pay millions? Jackson's legal team argued the opposite, that settling was a strategic move to end a financially draining civil battle while preparing for criminal defense. Criminal charges were never filed in the Chandler case, partly due to insufficient cooperation and evidence for prosecution. And nearly a decade later, the controversy returned. In 2003, British journalist Martin Bashir released Living with Michael Jackson, a documentary that shocked viewers worldwide. Jackson was shown holding hands with a young cancer survivor named Gavin Arvizo. More damagingly, Jackson again defended sharing his bedroom with children, calling it an act of love. Public backlash was immediate. Soon after, Gavin Arvizo accused Jackson of molestation. This time, authorities moved aggressively. In November 2003, Santa Barbara County investigators raided Neverland Ranch. Detectives seized computers, books, photographs, hard drives, and personal materials. Prosecutors built a case alleging Jackson had not only molested Gavin, but also used alcohol, manipulation, and intimidation. Jackson was charged with multiple felony counts, including child molestation, administering intoxicants to a minor, and conspiracy. The 2005 trial became a media spectacle. Prosecutors argued Jackson used his fame, wealth, and access to vulnerable families to exploit children. The defense countered fiercely, portraying the Arvizo family as opportunistic and financially motivated. But ultimately, prosecutors faced a major challenge: reasonable doubt. After months of testimony, on June 13, 2005, Michael Jackson was acquitted on all 14 charges. In the eyes of the law, he was not guilty, but public opinion was far less certain. Michael Jackson died in 2009, still one of the most celebrated entertainers in history. Yet the allegations never disappeared. For supporters, he was a misunderstood genius, eccentric, damaged, but innocent. For critics, the repeated accusations, settlements, and patterns were impossible to ignore.